friendship, and our poem was Say, Say, My Playmate. In October, we learned all about harvest, and our poem in October was called Pumpkin. In November, we continued our harvest unit and learned a poem about Thanksgiving called Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving Day will be your soup. It comes around but once a year. If I could only have my way, we'd have Thanksgiving every day. In December, we learned all about Christmas, and we learned an excerpt from the poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." In January, we learned all about transportation, and our poem was Little Helicopter. In February, we learned all about our community, and many of you came to our community reports where they got to find 3 different places in their community and tell us all about the places that are in their individual communities. And we also celebrated Valentine's Day, and so our poem was called Here Is My Valentine. In March, we learned all about animals and got to take a trip to the zoo. And one of the groups of animals we talked about were reptiles, and our poem was Little Turtle. Little turtle, in your shell, slowly you do go. Slowly creeping, slowly crawling, slow is nice, you know. In April, we learned all about farm animals, and the kids know this poem better than the teachers, so I can't wait to do this one. I mix up my farm animals all over the place. So are you ready, boys and girls? This one is called Down at the Farm. Horses, donkeys, cows at noon, chickens, piglets too. Fish that swim down in the pond, ducklings quacking all day long. All these animals you will see if you come to the farm with me. And this month, we finished up by learning
us what they are capable of and how much they grow in the year that we have them. And we honestly feel lucky to have your children with us. And the caliber of family that comes to Great Leaps is unparalleled. We just have the best parents, and we're so lucky to have you as our Great Leaps family. This year, boys and girls, we learned in one of our units all about frogs. Do you remember that? How is a frog born? Is it born? Is it just born and it looks like a frog? No. What's it born? How's it born? First, it comes into a little egg, and out of that egg comes a tadpole. And then does it turn into a frog overnight? No. What does it do? It turns into a frog. And it starts growing legs, right? And it begins to lose its tail. And then it becomes an adult frog. Boys and girls, can I tell you something? You are kind of like that. When you were first born, you were a little itty-bitty baby, and you had to stay home with your mommy and your daddy, right? You couldn't come to school. And then you kind of grew. You kind of came out of that little egg like that tadpole, and you were like a tadpole. And if you're a tadpole, raise your hand if you're in the tadpole class. Yeah, you were in the tadpole class, weren't you? This is your first time at school. And you came to school, and maybe you had never been to school before. And you learned all kinds of things. But guess what? You're not going to stay a tadpole. Do you know what this means?